Cheese boards are a fantastic way to entertain your guests, and with the right selection, they can be an absolute showstopper. I'm joined today by Svetlana, the founder of the Cheese Lady, a farmhouse and artisan cheese specialist, and she's going to show us how to create a delicious and balanced cheese board. Hi, Svetlana.
Hi.
So, listen, I've got some friends coming round for dinner this weekend. I want to create a cheese board. Where do I start?
Well, I think a good way to start is to think about a few different things. The first thing I would encourage you to think about is the number of cheeses that you would like to serve. So a very small cheese board would be about 3 cheeses. So that gives us a little bit of scope to offer variety. But if you want to create a spectacular cheese board, I would go for 5 or maybe even 6 cheeses, because that will give you the most scope to show all the different varieties of cheese available. And the second thing I would be thinking about is wine. I would decide on which wine you're going to serve first. So is it going to be a red, white, or maybe dessert wine at that point of your dinner? So once you decide on the wine, then you can create the selection that is perfect for that wine, because certain cheeses actually work better with white wine, certain cheeses work better with reds. So it's quite an important decision to make.
So you mentioned ideally 3 to 5 different varieties of cheese, but as an absolute beginner in all things cheese, how do I know which varieties to choose?
Great question. So what I would be thinking about, it's again about that variety. I would encourage you to include different textures of cheese. So definitely think along the lines of having a soft, a semi-firm, a firm. Firm cheeses can be smooth and crumbly, so there's a little bit of variation there as well. And yes, try to include all of those different textures, because that's a good way to start to offer in variety. The second thing, when it comes to variety, there are different styles of cheese. So we can have bloomy rind cheeses, washed rind cheeses, alpines, cheddars, goudas, blue cheeses. So if you try to include something from these different families of cheese, you will be definitely offering variety. And of course, the third thing is you can include different milks. So we have cows, goats, sheep, buffalo cheeses. So those kind of are the 4 main ones. And if you try to include all of them, or at least 2 or 3 of them, that would be definitely offering your guests and yourself different flavors and aromas on your cheese board. So that's what I would be saying to you.
Super. Now, I can see we've got a rather nice looking cheese board in front of us here. Could you talk me through what we've got and why you think it works so well?
So today I created a cheese board for this wine, which is one of my favorite red wines. It's a Malbec, Punta de Bacchus from Argentina. Very smooth, very easy drinking. It's not too light, but it's not too heavy. So it's kind of right down the middle there, body-wise and intensity-wise. So I paired my cheeses today to that wine. So I started with the soft cheese, which is a gorgeous Baron Bigod. So from Suffolk, made with cow's milk. And as you can see and probably guess, it's a brie style cheese. It's gooey, it's mushroomy, it's just so voluptuous and gorgeous. So soft cheeses shouldn't be too gentle for red wine. So maybe young goat milk cheeses are not the right way to go, but something with a bit more oomph. That's what I was thinking here. And then the second cheese I went for is now more of a bouncy texture. So when I press on it, it has a little bit of a spring to it. And it's a cow's milk cheese from France. It has a washed rind, so it has a little bit more of that delicious aroma, and it's a bit more nutty. So again, that would work with our red wine. So then I changed milks. So the first 2 were cow's milk. Now this one is a goat's milk. This cheese is called Tinto, and it's from Scotland. It's a little bit like a Gouda / cheddar. It has kind of nuttiness to it. And therefore, when I was saying don't go for 2 younger goat's milk cheeses for red wine, more mature goat's milk cheeses are fantastic with red wine. And then I have sheep's milk cheese from France, another French classic called Osseurati. And unlike Tinto, it's more smooth in texture. Tinto was a little bit crumbly. This one is smooth. So I have 2 different firm cheeses in texture. And of course, because it's sheep's milk, it's kind of nutty, it's caramelly, it's just gorgeous. And I find that mature sheep's milk cheeses really work well with red wines. And finally, our 5th cheese is Gorgonzola Picante. So that's actually the slightly lesser known version of gorgonzola, but interestingly, it's the original one. So that's how gorgonzola used to be back in the day. And this gorgonzola picante is firmer than your gorgonzola dolce, and it's got more oomph to it. It's got more bite, so therefore the name picante. And if I put it on a spectrum of blue cheeses, I would say it's a medium strength blue, and that's what I would recommend with red wines, because the stronger the blue gets, the more sweetness you need in your wine to pair it. So here we have it. That's our selection of 5 cheeses. And another thing, actually, I kept in mind, but not very intentionally, is I tried to offer a few different countries on my cheese board. So I have England, France, Scotland, France again, and Italy. So that's just a fun thing to do.
Nice, fantastic. That's been so helpful. Thanks very much, Svetlana.
My pleasure.
I hope you've all enjoyed the episode today, and if you have, please give us a follow. And if there's anything else you'd like to know about cheese, then just drop us a comment.